Good morning. Tamir is here for you, bringing you quality content, mindset, and discipline to learn from my mistakes so you don't have to make them. Today's discussion is rare earth minerals, which power your smartphone, EVs, U.S. defense system. But China controls 90% of the processing. And with the president's new plan, Project Volt, being announced on February 2nd, stocks are surging. It's a prime time to invest. We'll find out why. In today's video, we're going to discuss what are rare earth minerals, what are they used for, who controls them, what the geopolitical landscape is with them, and a bunch of tickers that are poised to jump. So please stay tuned. We got a lot packed in this video, so let's get started.
I don't need recognition. I'm on a mission. I'm paying dues. I'm in position.
So the first question is, why now? Why invest in rare earth minerals right now? Well, there's supply chain tensions between the U.S. and China, booming demands for EVs and renewable AIs. There's at least a 5 to 10x growth by 2030, as projected by experts on rare earth minerals. And Trump's $12 billion plan to build U.S. independence is sparking pretty immediate jumps. Some of the stocks yesterday went up over 10% as a result of that. And there's rapid headlines every day about the rare earth mineral push. So what are rare earth minerals? So you got 17 metallic elements, that make up these rare earth minerals. And they're essentials, but they're very, very hard to process. Not truly rare in the sense of rare earth minerals, but they're rare because you can't get them out of the ground. They're actually in more abundance than thought, but the processing of these materials takes heavy equipment, time, and location, right? So what are they used for? They're used for techs and electronics, magnets and devices and screens, clean energy, EVs, motors, batteries, wind turbines, defenses, missiles, lasers, jets, other things like medical tech. The market is huge on it, and it's going to double very, very fast. So simplified, with the infographics of elements, there's a chart. I'll try to put it in the video. Right now, I'm just trying to get this material out to you as quickly as possible. So who controls them? So 60%, 70% of the mining and 90% of the processing is in China, which they use as leverage. Our current administration in the United States doesn't like that. So they are starting with Project Volt, which is a plan to invest and buy $12 billion to build up the U.S. independence and spark immediate control of rare earth minerals. Part of the deals with Greenland and other places in the world have to do with rare earth minerals more than you think. So they're on the table. They are essential to the future. As far as AI goes, they are essential. As far as everything we have to look forward to, they're going to be essential. So we have to really take this very seriously. I think this is the next industry to pop this year. Obviously AI is booming and everything AI is moving. When the Mag 7 show you that they are reducing spending in AI, their stocks have been dropping. And when they show you that they are increasing and it's a positive development, then they go up. So who controls them? China controls most of them. The U.S. is trying to get a pretty strong control into them. But if you notice, the companies that the administration said they would invest in, they all popped. USAR took a big jump, MP, and a bunch of other names. So what is exactly the plan for Project Volt, and what does it entail, and how does that matter to us? So Project Volt sounds exactly what it is. It's to vault up those minerals, to have a strategic reserve, kind of like the U.S. has on oil, but for minerals, right? It was announced on February 2nd. Following the January 15th EO on imports. The mechanics of it are they want to stockpile for private access so they can have it. During disruptions, it prioritized domestic projects as opposed to having to rely on our allies and partners to do this. If they wanted to stop selling the U.S. or delivering rare earth minerals, this would cause a major trade war. We would have a problem. And the U.S. would then counter with things that China needs, and it would be a big problem. So immediately, the market should surge for North American miners, right? We're really looking for companies that the U.S. can invest in and take control over some of these rare earth minerals. So what rare earth stocks are poised to jump in this development? And where do they stand now? What do they do? And can you invest in them all, or are some of them private? Let's discuss. So these North American stocks surged post-announcement, and here's why they're primed for gains. We've got USAR. We've got MP. We've got CRML. UUUU, which I explained in a previous video. I missed out on a massive jump last year around this time, so I don't think I want to miss out on it this year. Neocorp, NB, and United States Antimony. Sorry, I had to read that one. UAMY. I'm trying to get this accurate for you guys. USAR, MP, CRML, UUUU, NB, and UAMY. What do? Let's discuss. Well, USAR has been in the news a lot lately. They're a rare earth mining and manufacturing company focused on developing a fully integrated rare earth and permanent magnet supply chain. They own the Round Top deposit in Texas and are building a magnet production facilities in Oklahoma. They process heavy rare earth minerals and metals and alloys and neodymium magnets used in EVs, right? Renewables, robotics, and defense tech. Say that 5 times fast. Recently, they acquired less common metals in the UK to expand capabilities. And why is it good for the U.S.? Well, it reduces U.S. reliance on China for 90% plus of rare earth processing and magnets, bolstering national security. And like I said before, we won't have a trade war. U.S. can have its own control. Government funding recently supports domestic production, creating jobs and a secure supply chain for critical tech. So that's USAR. It's very good. Since February 2nd, it's up 17.46%. It's a pretty massive jump since that announcement. And it's a small drop in the bucket for where this company can go, but it was a pretty big jump. So, you know, sometimes in stocks, you got to expect for a pullback. But right now, we're not talking about trading. We're talking about investing, and we're talking about the future of rare earth minerals. So in the grand scheme of this, if we revisit this video in a year from now, I am very confident it's going to be much higher. But this is not financial advice. You have to do your own diligence, talk to your accountant, your financial advisors, and make your own decisions. I'm just supplying information. So MP Materials, next on the list, right? They operate in the Mountain Pass mine in California, the only scaled U.S. rare earth mineral site. Pretty big. I think this is going to be the next big one to possibly pop. They mine, refine, and produce rare earth compounds, minerals, concentrates, and magnets. They're expanding into the heavy rare earth mineral separation and magnet building plants that they have in Texas. They're investing over $1 billion to restore a full supply chain. Why is it good for the U.S.? Well, as Americans' primarily rare earth mineral producer, their primary rare earth mineral producer, it counters China's dominance, right? It supports DoD partnerships and enables domestic EV wind turbine and multi-billion-dollar deals that can happen. It's a key player in the U.S. mineral independence, up 9.3% since February 2nd. Not quite as much as USAR, still room to go. It was at $59.11 on February 2nd. I really expect in pre-market to see this thing go up as well. The next one on the list, and I'm reading some of this, so please don't worry that my eyes are scaling. I'm trying to get you correct information. All right, is Critical Medical Support, CRML. I like this one a lot. Yesterday, I actually played calls on this up, and I got out at about 15% gain. It went up 20.25% since February 2nd, right? It's sitting at a little over $15. They're a resource company developing in the Tanbreeze rare earth mineral deposit in Greenland, right? One of the world's richest untapped resources. So it's not just strategic military place, but Greenland also is a major depot for rare earth minerals, one of the most untapped places. They focus on extraction, processing, and supplying rare earths for defense, clean energy, and tech. So very big. Extracting rare earth minerals in Greenland is not so easy. And these guys do it. Very good. If you wanted to open up a new company and start doing it, it would take some time. So they're advanced. They're advancing an integrated supply chain outside of China with pilot plants and offtake agreements. So what are they good for the U.S.? They provide a Western alternative to China's 90% refining control, right? So if you don't want to use China, they can go to CRML and go the Greenland route, right? They secure U.S. access to critical minerals via potential government stakes. They have an 8% U.S. interest, and they enhance supply for military EVs, reducing geopolitical risks. I actually found some articles on this over the past 2 weeks with investments in it and United States involvement. And this one was, in my opinion, the #1 biggest one to jump recently. and it went up over 20%. And I was kicking myself for letting the options go. Picked up a little bit of stock as well. I personally want to keep scaling in on this name going into the future. I think this is going to be a very, very big one. And our relationship with Greenland is going to determine how big. Okay, the next one on the list is UUUU. Everybody's familiar with this, right? Energy fuels, right? They do uranium as well. They have uranium production, but they've been expanding as well into the rare earth processing. I did a video in September about the benefits of UUUU in the uranium and AI sectors, and I kind of tapped on the rare earth minerals, but they are getting more involved in it, right? They produce rare earth oxides for magnets alongside titanium and a bunch of other minerals. I'm not going to try to tongue twist myself naming them here. They have global projects in Brazil, Australia, Madagascar. Onshores for the U.S., they have rare earth mineral processing onshore. They produce qualified heavy U.S. magnets and EVs. As the top U.S. uranium producer, it diversifies critical supply chains, supporting nuclear energy, defense, and clean tech, right? And they also meet environmental standards. The UUU has been known to be one of the best in their field. They're up 16.75% since February 2nd, currently sitting at $24.53. We were looking at this name at under $6 a year ago. So, if it would have went up 50% a year ago and I did this video and it was at $9, a lot of you might be saying, oh, it's already up 50%. It's not going to go up further. Well, it went up another 350% in the past year. So these names have a long way to go. And as far as AI and rare earth minerals, we have a long way to produce for many people. And as technology advances and we start using more things other than smartphones, when we have robots walking in through the door, we're going to need even more rare earth minerals. So that's UUUU. And the last two names I have on the list, I have NB, Neocorp Developments. Neocorp is developing the Elk Creek project in Nebraska, North America's only nobium, scandium, and titanium mine. Okay, so I had to look this stuff up. This is not stuff you memorize. They aim to produce these critical minerals for batteries, alloys, and magnets, focusing on full-scale mining and processing. How are they good for the U.S.? They're positioning the U.S. as a producer of top critical materials, reducing imports for defense, EVs, and batteries. So similar to USAR and some of the other companies, they are fully permitted and government supported, right? It builds domestic supply for national security, right? Because if we have to rely on foreign aid for rare earth minerals, it's not so good. They're up 21.75% since February 2nd. I remind you guys, it's only February 4th. So I just announced a bunch of names up more than 15% already, all simultaneously. There is a push for this, and there's going to be a push for hedge funds and banks and everybody to have the control of most of these companies. So retail has a very good opportunity to jump into these names early. And I'm not saying they're not going to scale back at some point, but these long-term are going to be very strong. So I want you to be informed on what each one of these companies does, so you could decide for yourself based on the news and what's happening, which ones are poised to jump and which ones are poised to move back as they develop. And the last one on the list, the United States Antimony. United States Antimony Corp, UAMY, is a fully integrated mining and processing company producing antimony oxide metal, trisulfide, and precious metals. They operate the only U.S. antimony smelter, which is located in Montana, and mills in Mexico, sourcing from U.S.-Canada claims. Recently acquired flotation facilities for ore concentration. So that's pretty cool stuff. How are they relevant to the United States? Well, they're the sole domestic antimony supplier amid China's export bans, right? So we had some bans from China, which affected all of the U.S. rare earth mineral companies, and they are the only ones that do this. That they're the only antimony supplier for the United States. So very vital for U.S. defense, very vital for ammunition, ignition, industry, flame retardants, batteries. That's what This sector does. A $245 million DoD contract replenishes stockpiles and secures supply chains, which they recently got. So this one, because of that contract and a bunch of other things that make it unique to the United States, is up the most at 22.77%. From $7.86, they went up to $9.65 in 2 days. Unbelievable. Like imagine you put $100,000 in and you're up $22,000 in 2 days because of a rare earth mineral push, and you know it's going to be needed for the future. So anybody that got a chance to get into rare earth minerals, kudos, but it's only the beginning. So here's my final thoughts and a small call to action. We're sitting at a crazy time. So first I'm going to mention the market that we're in right now. It is very news driven, very policy driven, and there's a lot going on. There's a lot of negotiations, a lot of deals being made, a lot of things happening. So you really have to watch the news. 2 days ago, if you saw on the news, Trump announcing Project Volt, It's going to invest in rare earth minerals in America. You see the companies that he's investing in, or you see the things he's talking about. You see the companies that he would invest in because it makes sense with the policies he's trying to create, with the stockpile he's trying to create. You can see where the push can go. This is working the same way with AI and with all of the industries that are coming up right now that are going to control the next 30 to 50 years of the future. Once it was the dot-com bubble, as they call it, but it was more of a bubble than the AI bubble because we're actually using the tech more. When the dot-com bubble started, we weren't using the tech the same way we're using it now. Now we're using all of the dot-com tech, and these companies are all trillion-dollar companies. So could that be the case for rare earth minerals? Will these companies be trillion-dollar companies in the future when we're using them in the same level? Maybe. I can't say how much. I'm not going to be an economist here, but what I am going to say is, as a trader and an investor, I want you to exercise caution right now. I lost a lot of money in December not exercising caution, jumping into things. Maybe it would have been good if... Maybe it will be good with a lot of these things that I got into early because in the future they'll do well. But you really have to be cautious. Scale your investments. Be careful what companies you invest in when it comes to AI, because some of them are not going to perform. Rare earth minerals, but some of them are not going to dig. SMR was a great company that I put out in September, but I had cautioned that their tech wasn't really producing a lot of money and it wasn't being used everywhere. And even though it was amazing, it had a lot of potential to drop. I had it as a pick and it dropped. So, we're not always right. And until they reintegrate what they're using and they have some news and they start really building, I don't see it as $100 company yet, right? I don't see it as $1,000 company yet. So I'm not here to do a video on SMR, but I'm bringing it up as an example. There are a lot of companies out there, AI companies, rare earth companies, mineral companies that are great. They speculatively could do very well, but speculation is why the price would be up and then go back down, right? But actual production keeps the price up, right? So Tesla, for example, has a lot of stuff on the horizon. Their price is higher than it was in the past because some of that stuff produced. But if some of the stuff in the future doesn't manifest, it's going to drop. And I use Tesla as an example because I watch it, invest it, and trade it all the time. Rare earth minerals is my next segue. So I'm going to be doing a lot more videos on this. I'm going to try to track it. I think this is our future. Please leave in the comments in the section below what you think. If you think rare earth minerals is something that our future is going to depend on, what stocks you think I may have missed on the chain. What do you think about relations between US and China, and how you think that's going to affect rare earth minerals with AI? So once again, trade safely, everybody. Tamir is here for you, bringing you quality content, mindset, and disciplines so you can learn from my mistakes so you don't have to make them. Please like and subscribe. I hope this video gave you a bunch of information you didn't have. Have a great day.
Recognition, I'm on a mission.